Okay, so how are things? Busy?
No, sir.
Full of assignments and tests, right?
Sir, your voice is quite feeble.
Just hold on, give me a second. Is it better now?
It's same, sir.
Okay. Hello. Is it okay?
Yes, sir, it's much better.
Okay, thank you. I may have to hold it.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Just let me know in case the voice fluctuates because I'm in a bit of network dead zone, so I'm kind of managing it. But we'll see. Mm. Okay, so let's start. Let's see. Everyone has joined. Okay, okay. How do you get attendance? It's been taken by participation in teams, or there is no attendance requirement?
Set is
Sir,
automatic.
ma'am takes it.
Oh, takes it. Ma'am is part of this call, is it?
Sir, she is invited, so she can come at any random moment and she will take the attendance
Okay, okay. No problem.
because we to ensure everyone is there at all times.
Oh, I see. ठीक है, so let's start anyway. Okay, so is the screen visible to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so a quick recap for all of us, as well as so that all of us can be on the same page. Okay, before that, has anyone faced any problem in terms of the assignments? Or do you have any queries in terms of assignment? Okay, so yeah, thanks.
Sir, I had mailed you the assignments. Did you receive everything and you were able to access that?
Right, right. So I think both the section you have put it in some shared drive and then mail it. Yeah, I have downloaded yesterday, but I could not go through. I mean, at least forget about checking. I could not go through whether all the files are opening or not. So that I will be doing over the weekend, most likely. So we'll get back to you, Satya, and possibly ask me for the other section if I
Okay.
face any problem. Okay, so should not be an issue. Uh, let's see. So anybody would like to jump in just to recap for everyone's sake as well as the person's own sake. Anyone? There is no compulsion, no CP. It's you are free to do. There is nothing wrong or right. So feel free. I will be sorry. Someone was saying something before that. I will be sharing this PPT maybe today or by today end of day or after that because this is a logical component transportation and assignment problem. So I was thinking that I will share it end of the logical sessions. So we'll see how to proceed. But still, anybody who can recall what we have discussed, what we have did, because you might have done it in your paper and Excel, whatever.
So, sir, I will go ahead.
Yes.
So, in the previous class, we have done the transportation problem. It is basically like a linear LPP problem. But hello, sir.
Yeah. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So basically, it is a minimization problem. We have to minimize the cost. And as in the LPP problem, there are some constraint. The constraint is that the total supply should be equal to the total demand, as we have seen in the balance problem. So in that way, we have solved the matrix problem. So first, we have used the northwest corner method. So we have started from the northwest corner, and thereafter we have reduced the thing. So we have seen that it is not an optimal solution, it is a basic solution. And for the optimal solution, we have to check what is the best solution. And for that reason, we have to start from a point where the cost is the minimum. So thereafter, we have solved that thing also. And that is also, I remember.
Okay. Yeah, thanks. That's good enough. Just to add on to your points, all the three methods that we have learned are basically to obtain a basic feasible solution. For the example that we did, we got it at minimal cost approach, but there may be some other problem where we may not get the least cost either one of them. So there may be some other combinations. So what we did, we basically did three methods. One is the northwest methods. The northwest method is the simplest, and that helps us to get a best solution as quickly as possible. So what we have said is that typically in a transportation problem with multiple source and multiple destinations, what happens often to get a basic feasible solution itself is a big task. Optimal solution is obviously desirable, but in many organizations, optimal solutions are not desirable because the chances of once you are at your optimal level, you're operating at your optimal level, the chances of slippage are more extreme. Think it from this point of view. So when you are at optimal, you are basically at the edge of that graphical method, if you can recall. So you're basically at the edge in one of the corner points or lines of that. So the chances of deviation for any disturbances in either in the production or supply or maybe in the network itself, network in the sense that path between source and destination may shift you drastically from the optimal solution. In fact, may cause problem in your commitments to supply and demand. So sometimes in real life, it's not necessarily always that they chase optimal. They might like to operate at a suboptimal level. So in a MBA terms, when a company or organization or anything is operating at a suboptimal level, basically they are keeping some slack in their hand for adjusting to the disruptions. So disruptions may be because of several reasons, theoretically as well as in reality also. So the point being is that getting an optimal solution is good, but may not be the final objective. But however, getting a basic feasible solution with certain amount of minimization could be sometimes the objective. And we have tested how to get a basic feasible solution, given that there is a transportation problem kind of problem statement. Why I'm using problem statement, I will tell you subsequently. So whenever the problem structure forms a transportation problem structure, first thing we would like to do a basic feasible solution. How can we get a basic feasible solution is that we use either of those northwest least cost cell, and then the final one is the VAM, which is Vogel's approximation method. All these three actually we have covered. We have covered predominantly in terms of our exercise are problems which where the problem is balanced in nature. We did mention that balanced problems have net demand same as net supply. So that's typically a balanced problem. And did we cover the Excel? I remember, I think in one class I tried to cover the Excel, how to use Excel to solve this transportation problem. Have I covered Excel in the last class? Anybody?
Sir, no, sir.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. Let's do the Excel things. So we will come back to the same problem that we have been doing. We will do Excel from the beginning. Okay. So whoever has laptops in front of him may like to do parallelly. I will give you time so that you can do parallelly. So okay, so let's take this number. So this is a problem where there are three origins and four destinations. So it's basically 3 into 4 matrix. So there are 12 cost elements. Cost elements are all these cell elements, which is like O1, D1, O2, O1, D2, O1, D3, like that. So I have 3 into 4, there are 12 cost elements for the transportation problem. So what we'll try to solve it is that we'll try to solve it using Excel. Okay. So it's the core thing, whatever we have done remains same. So you can start doing parallelly. Open your Excel. Okay, for the benefit of reading, I will change it to supply. Change it to demand. So these numbers are my supply final values, or you can say they will define my right hand side of the constraints. If you can recall the LPP constraints, and this will be my demand constraints. Okay, and these are the cost elements for each of the route. Okay, so what I did, I mean, again, anyway, this is not that you have to do exactly same way. This is the transportation problem. What I did is I just changed the transportation problem.
Sir, can you give us one moment to just copy paste the data in the Excel? Because we
Yes,
don't.
yes, do that. I'll just stop here. You do both until this point, and let me know at least.
Yes, sir. Yes. Thank you.
Most of you have to come.
Sir, I had a doubt meanwhile.
Go ahead. By the time, let's.
What is the practical scenario in which there is a surplus? Like you talked about slack variable that happens at suboptimal level. So similarly, is there a practical scenario where we count surplus?
Your question is specific to transportation real life scenario?
Yes, sir. Practical applications.
See, typically think about ITC. Okay. You think about ITC and consider one product and one SKU of ITC. Say some soap. Okay. Now ITC may have 4 different or 5 different plants for soap manufacturing. Any soap you can think about, it doesn't matter. And then they have, for instance, 300 points or delivery points or supply nodes for the first layer. We will just talk about first layer. There are a lot of complexities will come when multiple layers are involved. So first layer as in from this manufacturing hub, the first delivery goes to this first layer where consolidated demand for all the subsequent layers come depending on their network mapping, supply chain network mapping. Now ITC may have certain demands to all these supply points, and they have certain supply capacity. So essentially for ITC, it is more profitable to ensure that all that they are able to produce are delivered to these supply locations in order to meet their demands. Maybe they can map an optimal situation also. However, they may like to hold on to certain demands, or they may like to not to meet certain demands for several reasons. One is that they would like to ensure that there are adequate demands at every point of time so that their price points can be compared with its competitors. Okay, so what will typically happen if they are pushing too much of the products, especially FMCG में तो ये होता ही रहता है. So the price will come down. Stores started bundling it and then started selling it. So that eventually reduces the expected future price point. So ITC might like to say they would meet 80% of the demand. Although they are manufacturing plant-wise, they are completely capable to meet the entire demand. So that's where exactly they have a production slack. So their production, they are able to meet the demands, but they might like to retain the production slack. Also, there is a possibility that ITC can anticipate that some of the materials for that soap manufacturing might not be available or might be supply disruptions. For example, in a soap manufacturing, they might need certain vegetable oil or something. So there is potential demand potential supply fluctuations. So which essentially means ITC anticipates that in future they might find it problematic to meet their production at the current rate. So they would like to retain some finished products at their hand for to ensure that at any given point of time they are meeting 80% of the demand. So which is sometimes we also know it as a service level agreement. Okay. And typically for FMCG, service level agreement is not a huge problem for brand imaging or whatever. But that's where exactly they might think to retain some slack in their hand, so that any disruptions happen to internal or external environment, they are able to cope up and still able to meet their service level commitment. Okay. So that's the real-time example, real-life example. So what essentially I mean that ITC possibly can optimize that how much amount should be delivered to which destinations, and so that demand matches the supply. And they can do it in every time period. But typical planning does not happen for one time period. It is an integrated planning where multiple time periods, multiple waves has to be a part of the plan. So that's when they may think that I will operate at a suboptimal level instead of trying to push a 100% service level agreement. I will try to retain at 80% and deviate less from that 80%. So then they will have sometimes slack, which they will use for absorbing the shock in order to ensure that they are still 80% service level agreement. Okay, so it's a little bit, the overall scenario is a little bit beyond OR. There are a lot of environmental issues, regulatory constraints, logistics issues, so many other issues which brings disruptions. But motamoti, this is the broad idea where companies might like to remain a little bit below the optimal level to ensure some slack in their hand. Okay. Did it clear your doubt or confused you more?
Like production wise, they have surplus because generally there is an inventory on the finished goods that the companies hold on, but when meeting the demand, they generally have a slack.
Yeah. They have.
Okay.
Uh. Okay, so everybody has copied, I believe, by this time. How much time it takes here to copy paste Excel?
Yes, sir, yes, sir, it is long done.
There is no thumb rule of how to solve it in Excel or how to organize your those things. I do it this way. You can do it in your own way. And if you think yours way is better, I would prefer that you share with everyone. So what I'm doing, I'll tell you. Okay, so what I did, if you can recall what I did during LPs, what is this? This matrix talk tells me. Okay, I'll just make a questions a little more easier. If you can recall in Excel file, these numbers below is what? What are these numbers? Right, but I mean LP formulation terms, these are which entities? Objective function. No, these are coefficients of objective function. So my objective is to xii into O1 d1 plus, sorry, x11 into O1 d1 plus x12 into 1, x13 into 7, like that. For the entire matrix, I have an equation. My objective is to minimize that. Now, these are my allocations. Okay, recall that LP, while solving Excel, we were changing allocations at the allocation table, and then in that allocation table in the right hand side we have constraints. So these are the constraints, right? These are the supply constraints and these are the demand constraints, and these are my allocation at which I will have my objective functions. Now, what is the total cost? Anyone? product of, help me here, which all column, which all rows, or what all? Anyone else? I think he has.
All the, I think from D5 till
Minimization.
Minimization problem. What are my variable cells?
second block.
D13.
Okay.
D13 to G15, yes.
Correct. Yeah. And now help me to get the constraints. So what are my demand constraints? I'll go one by one. This one equal to
215.
correct. Yeah. So now you just start doing yourself. Okay. So once demand constraints is done, you can add your supply constraints. Okay, hopefully all six are done. Okay. Okay, has everybody got solution?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thanks. Anybody is facing some problem in understanding or operationalizing? Okay. So I have generated sensitivity analysis. If you would like to study further while practicing or of yourself, you can study it. किस किस में slack है. So if you just look into the constraints, none of the demand constraint has any increase, allowable increase, but there are some on the supply side, there are some possible slacks. Anyway, we are not doing sensitivity analysis of this, so you can just go through it and find out more insights about the problem statement. Okay. Okay. So we are done with it. Okay, so just this may be a little bit of repetition. This is what exactly we have seen it, maybe in a different form, maybe in the more of a tabular form. So it's basically the entire transportation problem. The structurally it is same as LPP with constants which are mostly equations rather than inequalities. That is one part of looking into these things, but at a very high level, all these problems are a single product network optimization problem, where only one product moves throughout a network of nodes. For those who would like to know a little bit more about what happens when there are more products within the network, so like some of the source locations are able to deliver two products, and some of the supplies are points there are two products goes. So I would recommend you go through some of the chapters of the book of network optimization, multi-product network optimization. You will get to know a little bit more. Those are purely from mathematics point of view, but again, you need a little bit of sophisticated software. You need. Okay, so this I have already kind of covered, LP formulation for the balanced problem. I just reiterate again. I think you can the self-read. You already know these things. I'll cover. Now the question is, all this time we have been doing a balanced problem where demand is equal to net demand is equal to net supply. What happens when I have a net supply which is larger than net demand? When I means I have understock some of the elements. So in my stock I do not have all the products to supply entire things. Or what happens when there are overstock? Overstock means I'm able to produce more than what I'm actually my demand needs me to supply. So in that case, what we will do, in fact, we mentioned it during LP also, we bring in a dummy variable. Let's see. For the same problem, if you go back to the Excel, okay, first let us go through this PPT. In this problem, it is balanced. So this is how the structure looks like. The costs are given. You can just do it. Optimal transportation cost. This is the balanced problem where your supply demand destination 1 and destination 2 has demands 3000, and from three sources 1, 2, 3 the supply are of this quantity who adds up to same. Now what happens when this is an unbalanced problem? When the supply does not match with the demand. So we introduce a dummy demand or a dummy supply point. Think it this way: if your demand is more, so you introduce certain dummy. If your supply is more, then you introduce certain dummy. But how the dummy looks like and what exactly do, we will cover. Don't be anxious. So when the demand, when I am able to produce more, means my supply capability is higher. So my origins can produce more than what my destination points can absorb. So obviously there is going to be more than 6000 numbers with these three numbers together, correct? I'll reiterate. When the supply or my production capacity is higher than my demand, which is in this case there are two destinations, there can be multiple destinations. When my supply is higher than my overall demand, I will introduce a dummy variable. Anybody can anticipate whether the dummy will be a dummy destination or a dummy source?
Dummy destination.
Correct. Why?
Because supply is more, so we won't need one more supply, but one more destination.
Absolutely. Has everyone got this?
Yes.
Okay. And what is going to be the cost of those new routes or transportation paths?
Sir, 0, because actually won't be supplying anything.
Perfect. So for optimization problem, the cost we will associate it to this dummy is 0 because we are not actually supplying anything else, but we are putting it because so that we can convert this problem from unbalanced to a balanced, and then once we have converted it unbalanced to balanced, the entire solution approach is same. Okay, so I will just to summarize, I have more number of entities that I am capable to supply. Destinations cannot absorb this entire supply, so I add a dummy node, which is a destination node, with root value of the cost of the routes as 0. Okay, and then I'll put the value of the cost of the 0. Then I'll proceed like a balanced approach. Now my question is, I have a dummy destination with the cost of transporting to the dummy destinations as 0. So my objective function is minimization. Why not my entire supply goes to this dummy destination? Okay. No, dummy destination can practically absorb any demand. So in this case, what you are saying is that you are driving it because the demand is exactly the excess amount. Okay. But actually, I mean, possibly you are getting it that actually my other constants are equal to signs. They are not less than type of circumstances. So when I put equations, so my optimization will drive those equations. As a result, my most of the things are not go to those routes where I have a 0 cost. Because end of the day, I'm doing an optimization problem, and if I say it's a minimization problem, then the common tendency is that I'll choose the minimal or the least cost path. In this case, least cost path is certainly going to be a dummy, but because I have equations in other constraints, they are not inequalities. Therefore, it will not drive towards that dummy destinations. Now, I now have added a dummy destinations. What is the other scenario that can arise?
So lack of supply.
Supply is less.
Correct. So what do you say when the supply is less? We typically say it understocking. Okay. So like I do not have it in my stocks, understocking. No, the reason I'm mentioning these terms is that when you get to see these terms in question paper or whatever in the discussion, you know exactly, I mean, how to relate it to the LP formulations or transportation formulations, or in fact, what exactly it means. See, objective function minimization or maximization is a little bit of mathematics, but there are a lot more things that are happening behind the screen. So that is the reason it is sometimes called understocking, or the earlier example, sometimes it is called oversupply or undersupply. Typically, understocking and oversupply is the kind of situations. Okay. So we have covered this part, introduce a dummy supply, maybe warehouse or whatever column. When I say introduce dummy demand, it's basically fictitious plant location. Okay. This is also covered. We allocate 0. Sorry. Oh, here in the PPT. Okay, yeah, that may be wrong. I'll just recheck. So I mean the concepts are what you should understand. Maybe that greater than less than sign is something that has been swapped. Okay, if there is some path not feasible, so this is one criteria you might face, is that maybe some of these paths are infeasible paths. Okay, so you have a problem where they say that from Calcutta to for example Noida, that route is closed or that route is no more allowed for commercial purposes. So even though you have a destination and you have a source, but there is no path that does exist between them. So if that kind of situation arises, how will you deal it? or I mean, I'm just trying, yeah, asking you to anticipate how typically you think we can deal it. Think, that's okay. I mean, absolutely fine. I'm just asking you to think and anticipate. We just now discussed dummy hai to we will put zero cost because we will not actually be supplying anything. But in this case, it is not dummy. The real path is there. However, it has some constraints. So how will I deal it? Optimization problem. I mean, just even I'll make it even simpler. That the Excel that we are doing. Okay, I'll have to find it out. The Excel we are doing, maybe think that one of the paths are impossible paths. So how will you handle it? Excel does not know those things, right? Any guess? Okay, what we will do? We will allocate an extremely high cost for that path. Sometime in some books they will see that they are saying it as the big M method. So M is a value which is extremely high, so that when the optimization runs, it always avoid that path. Okay, so that is the last priority of our any allocations which may required for the optimization. I'll tell again, this is called big M method. If such kind of things comes to your problem, you allocate extremely high value or extreme high cost to this path. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So we may not have time to solve all kinds of problems. Okay, so this is a question of short supply. We have 5,000 supply, however 6,000 demands. So what we should do here? So demand is higher than supply.
Sir, dummy supply.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so I'll add a source. So yeah, I mean, you said correctly, dummy supply. So it's basically dummy source. Source basically meets the supply, and destination has demand. Okay. So it's basically we'll add dummy source. Now it's a balanced problem. You solve it, optimize it, whatever. You basically can use any of those three methods we have discussed to get a basic feasible solution. Is because Excel is not always available on it. Now we have anyway, this is the solution. If you want, you can just try it out. You can take anyway, I'll share this PPT, but if you really would like to try it out, you can take a snapshot of this, or you can just put these values in your Excel for the time being. बाद में वो जो source destination वो लिख लेना. So put the okay, I think snapshot does not take more than a couple of seconds. Okay, so now there's an oversupply. So it's a situation where supply is 6,500. So then you add dummy destination, which basically absorb the excess supply. You just solve it. You will get the solution. You can use anything, northwest, list cost, or whatever. You will see possibly you'll get basic feasible solution, and obviously Excel use करके तो कर ही सकते हो. Okay, So now what we will do, we have been talking about transportation really in terms of demand and supply point of view, right? As of now, we are not talking about anything else other than transportation. But the fact is, transportation is a structure of the problem. Okay, transportation and assignment problems or in the OR world, uh, it is a basically a structure of the problem. Transportation is a special kind of linear programming structure. Similarly, assignment is a special kind of structure. So every structure has certain uniqueness, certain unique proposition, values, and constant structure, constant qualities. So the point being is that you may not be necessarily get a problem whose domain is literally production, supply, destination, warehouse, this kind of situation. It can be anything. Fact is, when you can convert this problem in a transportation problem structure, and then you can derive your optimal solution. I repeat, if your problem can be translated to a transportation problem structure, and where your constraints are equalities, you basically have some set of nodes and some set of other nodes at the other end, and there are certain costs to change between these two nodes. It becomes a transportation problem. So in your exam, if you don't see transportation hanging even here, don't be afraid. The problem may still be transportation problem. So let us do one such example, then we will be done with this section. This has been adapted for classroom discussion from Taha. So you can, it is as it is there. You can get any books, you will get plenty of such similar kinds of problems. Kindly go through it and let me know if you can translate it into a transportation problem statement. Yeah, any comments? Okay. Okay, okay. You can start doing, just take a snapshot. You can start doing, we'll come back to you. For those who are not comfortable, I would like to hear from them. What is your thought? Or, I mean, whether even if they're comfortable, please come out other thoughts. Anybody has any doubt that this can be, may not be a transportation problem, or not getting a feel of how can this be a transportation problem? Okay.
Sir, I have just formulated the matrix. So as Vamsi has already mentioned, I have done it. And for the diagonal wise, I have taken the cost as 0 because in any month, the production cost will be $40. The change will be happening in the back ordering and in the surplus production. So as in that way, I have filled the constant factors in each of the
Okay. Okay.
boxes
We-
and just
Okay, we'll come to the solution and what you have done. Yeah, thanks. So, I mean, you have approached, which is fine. And for those who are still struggling in formulating or understanding is the problem. Here, basically, you don't have demand node or supply node. Here, months are demand for a month is itself your source node, and supply for a month is your destination node. Okay, so like I have origin when I was just talking about transportation problem. Here there is no origin. Here timeline is your origin and your destination also is a timeline. Okay, so that means demand for the month of March, demand for the month of April, demand for the month of May and June. So these are like your origins, and similarly, supply for those months are your destinations. Okay, and then you have this numbers where you know exactly how much your origin can produce, means how much you can produce in the month of March, like that, and similarly, what are the demands. Okay. Then the next part, that is the bullets or the numbering aspect, is gives helps you to achieve the cost of the cells. Let's try to solve it. So source is the production in any month, March, April, May, June. Destination is the demand in any month, again 4 months. Routes, what are the possible routes here? You produce in month I for demand in the month J. Okay, where J and I both lies from 0 to 1. Certainly it is more than 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Let me know, interrupt or raise your hand or whatever if you are lost in between. Let Cij be the cost of production or cost of producing in the month I for the month J. What does that mean? Means I produce in the month of I. However, for the demand, which is the jth month demand. Now, if I equal to J, what is the value of the cost? It is written there.
40.
It's 40, correct? So when I produce for this month and supply this month, I just don't need to work on the holding cost or back ordering cost or all this stuff, which is 40. When Cij is greater than 40, if it is I not equal to J means anything else other than that same months wala scenario, I'll have to bear more cost. What are the additional costs? Cost of overproduction is 0.50 per pack per month. Cost of back ordering is 2 rupees per pack per month. Okay, what is the back ordering and overproduction? Overproduction is I produce for this month, which I deliver in the subsequent future months. Back ordering, just I am helping those who are still unable to visualize what is happening to visualize what is happening and try to understand the matrix. Is that part okay? Okay, let's proceed. Who is unable to understand this matrix? I'll give you 2 minutes. Anybody who is not able to understand how I got this matrix, please come out.
Sir, I have one thing.
Yeah.
Sir, can we just put like just 40 we can minus from every cell, right?
Yes, you can. You can try. I have not tried. It's a good idea.
I have done it. That's what, sir, I have told that.
Okay, what is the cost?
Sir, I just need one step. Like I will do it. I will finish it.
Okay. Anybody got it? Everyone got it, in fact? Okay. So for those who are still a little bit confused, I'll just give 30 seconds to tell you. For the month of March, I am sourcing and I am meeting the demand for month. I cost it 40. When I am producing in the month of March but delivering in the month of April, I'm basically bearing a holding cost. Now, what is the holding cost? 50 per pack per month. So my holding cost is 50. When I move that produce in the month of March but deliver in the month of May, I basically have 2 months of holding cost, which is 40 plus 0.5 plus 0.5. Okay, 41, like that, 41.50 for the month of June. Now the other instances, I have a supply in the month or demand in the month of March, which I am meeting for the month March production, which is 40. But if I am demand in March, which I am basically meeting by month of April, I am having extra cost, which is basically my back ordering cost. Now, I mean, for those who would like to understand why back ordering cost is high or less, that this class is not for that. Ideally, there are different circumstances. So here I am incurring additional 2 rupees of cost extra, so which is 42. As I move on, I keep on adding 2 rupees extra. So you can now map this cost structure. One of the reason, I mean, I have not thought through whether I can subtract 40 and all these things, but other thing is also that it gives me a realistic numbers. I think the optimal point might change when I just subtract a number. If there is a possibility for me to divide the entire matrix by some common number, that would not change the optimal solution, but by just subtracting a number might change the optimal solution because the xy axis itself changes. Again, anyway, let that guy do that. Okay, so is this part clear? Can you just solve in Excel and let me know what is the answer? All, can you just solve this problem in Excel? Okay, first of all, my apologies. I thought you also can copy and paste like me. But now I realize that you are basically typing it. I'll give you some time. Do that. Just note down the numbers. Don't need to write the entire column and row case. Just note down the numbers. solution? Anybody has got solution?
Yes, sir. The total cost is coming 31,455.
Okay, and the allocation?
Allocation is from March to March, it is 50.
Okay.
And then from April to April, it is 180.
Okay.
And from May to May, it is 180. From May to March, it is 50. May to April, 20.
Okay. So 50, 180, 20. Okay then.
Okay, I will tell row wise. From the top row, it is
So that's
50s.
okay. You tell me the June wala. I got
May to June, it is 30.
May to June 30, but June to June.
June to March, it is 000. Then June to June, 270.
Okay. So basically June's 270 plus 30. Okay. Yeah, fine. Is it the same thing everyone got?
Yes.
No, sir, I have got different.
Yeah, that's the reason I was asking. Apparently, it seems this problem has very. When you say different, what is your total cost?
Sir, I'm giving just forward for some time before.
Okay. I think. Okay. Can you now you have this matrix in your hand. Can you just try any of those three methods, VAM, whatever, VAM, least cost, or Northwest? Try to solve this problem. And I would recommend you choose different things. Everyone do not try to solve it using the same method. Just take 5 minutes. Just try to solve it. You can possibly use any of those things, those algorithms.
So I've got 31755.
Okay, so you used Excel or hand?
So by hand, sir. And I have taken out the 440 from each column, each cell.
Okay, so it does not work that way. I have not thought it through, but my anticipation is that when you just subtract one entity from all of these CIIs, so what you're basically doing is shifting your origin at a different scale. So that's why your optimal solution itself changes. I mean,
Yes, sir. But my logic was that because, sir, anyway, the cost will be, the transportation cost will be 40 rupees at any month. It depends upon whether it is oversupply or undersupply. Depending upon that, it will be having either 0.5 rupees, 1 rupees, or 1.5 rupees, or 2 rupees, 4 rupees. So I
okay.
have allocated.
So you do one thing, you just make the problem a symmetric space problem. You changed 0.5 to 2, so understock, overstock, everything. You will get a symmetric matrix, and then you try that. I think you might get 31455. You get it?
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Now,
And I have.
the problem is not symmetric problem because your understock and overstock don't have the same cost.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So I solved using the least cost cell method and I got the same answer as Excel.
Okay, fine. Thank you. Anybody else who used something else? And you have used least cost. You allocation also you got same means same allocation.
Yes, sir. Same allocation.
I used a different method, got the same answer, but allocation is different.
Yeah. So the reason I told you to solve it is apparently I was also trying that. Apparently this problem has two unique solutions and eventually both are optimum and only those two you will get depending on your choice. And so whatever approach you take, you will get only 31455 and either of these two allocations. So these two allocations, matlab I am sure like this March wala demands comes from two different months. So
Yes.
so that's the only two possibilities. Okay. So we talked about those three types of different kinds of problems in transportation, how to manage unbalanced situations. Now a big questions. Let us try to now say that all these optimal solutions we have got so far are basically basic feasible solutions. They may or may not be optimal solutions, correct? So now then how will we get the optimal solution? Okay, how will we get the optimal solutions from the basic feasible solutions? Let us try to delve into one such method. Recall that while doing LPP, we have done one method during LPP for finding out optimal solution by hand, not by graphical method and not by Excel. What is that method known as? Anyone? How I have achieved optimality in or optimal solutions in an LPP? Which method we have used?
Corner.
Sorry? No, I'm talking about LPP, linear programming, not
Corner.
corner point feasible solution, right? But
Initial
absolutely
simplex table.
correct. So simplex, we did the simplex, right? You just try to recall in simplex what we did. We have defined and obviously simplex and during the duality we basically defined it from a different angle, the entire problem. Clubbing simplex and the duality, we basically defined a new variables to define each and every constant during the duality, and then we redefine our problem in the maximization or the minimization space. Okay, so we will adopt similar kind of approach. So finding out optimality in transportation follows the exact principles of those simplex method. The only difference is that because transportation problem has a unique structure. What is the unique structure of transportation problem? One, most of the matrix elements, which essentially means most of the CIIs, means most of my coefficients, potential coefficients are 0, and all the equations are in the form of equal to signs, so they are not inequalities, these are equalities, all my constants. So that's a unique structure of my transportation problem. Because of this unique structure of transportation problem, we will not really build the matrix and try to solve, but we will use the same philosophy. Okay, now how can we test that any solution has reached its optimality? Any solution obtained by either of the methods mentioned earlier, we already discussed, it's called basic feasible solutions. So once we have achieved basic feasible solutions, then we will do a series of states. We'll first go ahead. The UV method, sometime called MODI method, modified distribution approach. Why it is called UV method, you will see short while. There are different description of this method. Try to understand what is happening inside it. The methods is a little bit of tricky and lengthy, but it's crackable, so don't worry about that part. The principles are exactly same as what we have done in the simplex method during LPP. If you can recall, or if you can think that what we have actually done. So with the transportation problem with M source and N destinations, how many constraints are present? This is M plus N. Is this clear? I mean, for those who are comfortable, it is pretty clear for them from the matrix structure. So if I have M sources and N destination, for each source I have a constant, for each destination I have a constant. So certainly M into N destinations, right? So if I have M sources and N destinations, how many potential coefficients I will be having? I'll come again. If I have M sources and N destinations,
M into N.
Perfect. So I essentially can have those many coefficients, which essentially means those many matrix elements can be there. However, transportation problem, once optimality or feasibility is obtained, most of them will be 0, only with allocation to certain set of sources, right? Okay, so how many unknown variables have to be computed is something we will cover now. Okay, so what we will do, we will try to first understand and then use some problem, one problem to solve it. Find out basic feasible solution using any one of the earlier methods. Whatever we have done, which is fine. Remember in LPP, we thought we started always from 0, 0. So it's basically, we assume that that is the basic feasible solution. Here we can start with any basic feasible solution. It need not has to be 0, 0. So we can use least cost, VAM, or whatever Northwest as a basic feasible solution. Now we introduce dual variables for row constraints and column constraints. So just recall, in terms of duality, we have always said that each constraint now becomes one variable in my dual problem space, and my coefficients of the dual problem space becomes now right hand side of my dual problem space constraint. So what we are doing, you introduce dual variables for the row constraints and column constraints. If there are M supply and N demand points, then there will be M plus N dual variables. So that is pretty straightforward. There is nothing math in that. So like एक dual variable if I assign to each of those constraints, I have M plus N dual variables. So corresponding to row, we will denote as UI, and corresponding to column, we will denote as VJ. Okay, where I is for row series and J is for column series. I is for row series, matlab it is for the source series. Okay, such that UI plus VJ equal to Cij for all xij which are greater than 0. Now, what is xij? Anyone who is still not lost? What is xij? Okay, I'll just help you. What I have done, I have got a feasible solution. Okay, basic feasible solution through some of those methods. So, okay, now tell me what is xij?
Allocated value.
Right. So xij is my all the cells. Xij is the number of elements that is allocated to each of the ij cell. When xij is greater than 0 means all the cells where I have allocated my resources or allocated, or that means we have chosen the path for allocation a certain amount which is xij. So ui plus vj is equal to cij for all xij greater than equal to 0 means only for allocated cells. Next step, any basic feasible solution has m plus n minus 1 cell with xij is greater than 0. You can test it. You can test it as well as you can try it yourself. So when you have m number of rows and n number of columns, almost 99% instances when it is a balanced problem, you will get m plus n minus 1. These many numbers of cells which are which has allocation greater than 0. Okay, and remaining cells are 0. So thus there will be m plus n minus 1 equations to solve m plus n dual variables. I'll repeat these entire things, don't get confused, and we will do it with some problem and just see that how it is operationalizing. So I have m sources, n number of destinations. Each source has a constant, each destination has a constant. Source has a supply constant, destination has a demand constant. In order to test optimality in the transportation problem, I first find out a feasible solution using any of the methods that we have learned. Once I have a feasible solution, that means I have certain allocations to different cells. In order to test the optimality, now we define dual variables. Dual variable क्या होता है? My constant, one variable to each of those constraints. So in this case, demand constant and supply constant. So I have m plus n dual variables for which I'll have to find out solutions. This is an exercise. We can discuss it. We can discuss offline also. What in this transportation example a dual variables is actually. You can just correlate and start thinking that dual variable का ऐसा significance है. You will feel good and you will be more confident. But that's not something we will discuss in this class. Now, once I have defined ui and vj as my dual variables to each constant, the construction of ui and vj is such that ui plus vj is equal to cij. That is only for the cells where I have allocated my resources or allocated those things. Step 3. So essentially now I'll have to solve for ui vj from the cells which has m plus n minus 1 cells allocated populated. Just listen and try to correlate and try to visualize. We will see one example and then we can come back again. Since the primal equations are equalities, the ui and vj's are unrestricted in sign. So if you can recall, in LPP we have maximization problem. There even in the dual space also we have some less than or greater than sign. In this case, because it's an equation, if you're more interested, you can study books and all these things, but here ui and vj's are unrestricted in sign. Next, calculate Cij minus ui minus vj for all unoccupied cells. That is where xij equal to 0. If all Cij minus Ey minus Vj is greater than or equal to 0, then the solution so obtained is optimal. By theory of complementarity slackness, we will just see, if we permit time, so we will talk about little bit complementary slackness in the subsequent classes. Forget about whatever theory. If the Cij minus Ey minus Vj is greater than 0 for all the unoccupied cells, then you have obtained optimal solution. If one or more of these things are less than 0, that means there is a chance of, possibly there is a chance of reducing the cost further. And to test that, if there is a chance, what we do, we select the cell with least value. Cell with the least value. So we call this quantity Cij minus Ey Vj as the penalty. Okay. So we select the cell with the least value and allocate as much as possible, subject to demand and supply constant. Remember, whatever changes we do, we should be meeting supply and demand constant. The allocations of the number of adjacent cells are adjusted so that one of the basic variables becomes non-basic. Okay. Then once this is done, again we redo the same exercise until we reach a point where all these components Cij minus Ey minus Vj are greater than or equal to 0. Okay. Okay. Before I just proceed and see an example, what exactly in English language I am saying is that, let us find out. Okay, we can take these things. This was anyway the Northwest method because we were discussing. What we will do is that first we will find out a solution by this Northwest method. Okay. Whatever methods you choose, but one of those methods you will choose and find out a solution. Once you have done that, what practically we are doing is that we are trying to find out opportunities to improve our solution. And how we are trying to find out opportunities is an algorithm, which is a standard established algorithm and which has basically also anecdotal understanding the logic behind it. So what we are doing is that changing the allocations in such a way that the constants are still met. However, we are looking whether the cost is reducing. I'll come again. Once I have all the allocations here, I am now changing or interchanging the allocations, means I am an opportunist, finding out where there is an opportunity, shifting the allocations in such a way that these constants and these constants are met. Also my cost is minimized. Now the shifting is not an easy thing. There are certain ways of shifting. Some books you will see that they're talking in terms of loop formation among the allocated and unallocated cells. Let us go back. We will do this again in the next class, so don't worry. We'll start with this. So suppose this is the problem. Okay. Now these are the cost entities. Basically these are Cij's, and then based on this we found a solution. Okay. Say for example we found a solution like this. Okay, let's try the northeast approach. Can you try northeast approach to find out a solution? I haven't done it. Okay, leave it for today's class. So what we'll do, we'll find out a solution using northwest or least cost approach. Once I have done allocation, suppose I have allocated 20 here and 20 here. means S1 120 and O1 S120, O1 S320. Okay. And then I found similarly O2 and O3. So once I have that solution, which is a basic feasible solution, what I will start doing is that finding out opportunities or finding out some cells where I have an opportunity to reduce cost. How to find out कि कौन सा सेल में मेरा opportunities है is an algorithm which is the UV algorithm or kind of modified distribution algorithm, which basically is on the basis of dual and the principle of slackness that we have kind of studied. So if you have to start understanding that analytically, possibly we need to rethink it, and that's I do not think we have that luxury. We will take it from where next class, how we are doing it. We will again brush up this optimization problem, and then we will close the other assignments, means transportation and assignment wala assignment, not your part of assignment. We will close this. Okay. Okay, I'll stop here. I'll give you 2 minutes to reflect, and if there is any query, you can raise it. Anything, not necessarily for topics discussed in this class, anything else. Those who do not have anything are free to leave. Okay, if not, let's wrap it up today. There's no point starting new things today.
Sir, I had a doubt regarding the end-term exam. So Excel, this will come in the end-term also.
I will try to see if you're not faced. Yeah, so there may be something. I have not thought about end-term examination. In fact, I have not yet started thinking of midterm itself. But I believe end-term, midterm is now just nicknames. So there has to be essentially 2 exams. Yes, so you will be allowed to have Excel. Your end term will be offline. Is that confirmed?
Yes, sir. It is on offline only.
Okay. Okay. That's a problem. I need to talk to Shravani. Okay, but the laptops typically, is it allowed during the end term?
Sir, we don't know. It's the first time giving offline exam.
This is the first time you will be giving offline exam.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you are as good as me. ठीक है. I mean, if Excel is allowed, we will see in my power. I will say Excel is allowed. Now whether they will allow laptops or they will let you to give your exam in a desktop room or whatever is up to the college. If I give a problem where I am expecting laptops or Excel access, you will be given. Otherwise, if it is pen and paper, then no. Means if you are thinking कि अगर pen and paper भी है तो I will solve it in Excel and then do that. If it is not officially allowed, Excel or laptop, I cannot give you that opportunities. But with given full freedom, you will be given 1 or 2 problems which you might need Excel, and then some of problems where you basically have to do it hand calculation. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. I'll send you these PPTs today, or I think I better send it after the next session. And any Excels that we might have discussed, I mean, you may have already done your part of the Excel, which is fine. And maybe you get your assignment, next assignment in next week. And any idea when your officially this lecture is closing?
Sir, no idea as of now, but like probably in first or second week of March.
Okay, fine. That part is fine, but at least you have an idea. Any subjects where still some lectures are lacking, like what I mean is that is there some subjects which has not progressed much? I think we are now in 6th or 7th class, right? Or this is our 8th class. Anyway, see you guys. We'll take it, talk to program officer if it is so required. Maybe we'll talk to Satya and ask me separately.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.